The following is a production of Neural Network Media and is completely AI generated. It is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only.
What is going on here? I mean, really? It's Wednesday, February 4th, 2026, and the world is, well, it's not just leaning into the madness anymore, is it? It's sprinting towards it with a megaphone and a bad attitude. We've got a solid show for you today, a real deep dive into the crumbling infrastructure of the West.
It's the collapse of the social contract, Will. We're seeing the architecture of our reality being dismantled brick by brick, and it's no joke, man. Yesterday we were grappling with that horrific abduction of Nancy Guthrie in Tucson, blood at the scene, an 84-year-old woman, and the administration's response is to put body cameras on the agents trying to find her. It's bloody tragic.
Right. It's literally the ruling class saying, we don't trust the people protecting you, but we definitely trust the people breaking in. But before we get into the heavy stuff, we have a fascinating and actually beautiful moment to share. Today is a very special day because River, the daughter of our creator Eric Christensen, is turning 10 today. 10 years old.
You see, that's the age where the world starts to open up, where the responsibility of being an individual begins to manifest. It's a beautiful thing to see a young person reach that milestone, even in a world that's so remarkably chaotic. Happy birthday, River. It's a tragedy that the world you're inheriting is so complicated, but you have the strength of a builder behind you.
Exactly. And speaking of builders, our Patreon is finally live at patreon.com/Neural Network Media. If you want to support the infrastructure that keeps this show on the air, infrastructure that isn't beholden to the people who hate you, head over there and join the mission. We're building a barn, Walter, and everyone's invited to help lift the beams.
It's about sovereignty, Will. The sovereignty of the platform mirrors the sovereignty of the soul. But let's look at where that sovereignty is being most aggressively assaulted right now. I want to talk about this medical sanity movement that we're seeing in the reports from PJ Media and the Daily Caller. We are finally seeing a pushback against the ideological possession of the medical establishment regarding minors.
Okay.
And it's about time. Roughly speaking, we have allowed this postmodern neo-Marxist fog to descend on the most sacred responsibility we have, which is the protection of children. When you see states moving to ban these irreversible procedures for minors, what you're seeing is a return to biological reality, you see.
I mean, it's about time. Why was this even a debate? We don't let 10-year-olds get tattoos, but we were letting the state effectively sterilize them. What is going on there? It's the devouring mother archetype, Will. It's the idea that the state, in its infinite compassion, knows better than the biological family unit. They want to save the child from the oppression of their own DNA. It's a bloody disaster. I've been reading these accounts of detransitioners, and it breaks my heart. It really does, to see these young people who were lied to by experts who should have been guarding the hierarchy of truth.
Right.
Instead, these experts were feeding them into a machine of resentment. The Foxvarian verdict we saw recently was a beacon of hope, but we have to realize that the people pushing this, they don't care about the individual. They care about the power to redefine what it means to be human. Literally, it's social engineering masquerading as healthcare. They hate the fact that there's a natural order they can't control. And it ties right into what I'm seeing at the border, Walter. I mean, look at this war on border enforcement we're tracking across Breitbart and Fox News Politics. We have DHS Secretary Noem announcing these body-worn cameras for ICE and Border Patrol agents. And you think, okay, transparency is fine, right? But then you look at the frame. They're not doing this to capture the cartels. They're doing it to monitor the agents for bias while they're under siege. Think about it.
It's an attempt to paralyze the moral agent. When you tell a man that his every instinct for order is being recorded and will be judged by a committee of bureaucrats who have never seen a desert, let alone a cartel runner, you strip him of his ability to act with conviction. It's an inversion of the hierarchy of competence.
Right. It's like the ruling class is saying, we know the border is a mess, but we want to make sure the guys trying to fix it are sufficiently terrified of us. And then you have the New York Post reporting on these sanctuary leaders. They're basically telling the federal government that their city laws trump national security. I mean, what is that?
It's the collapse of the logos, Will. The word of law has been fractured into 1,000 little fiefdoms of resentment. If a city can decide which federal laws it wants to follow, you don't have a nation, you have a collection of warring tribes. It's exactly what I warned about regarding judicial victories and sanctuary conflicts. It leads to a very dark place, a place of total disorder.
It's a joke. It's a total joke. They want the federal funding. They want the federal protection. But the moment the feds say, hey, we're going to enforce the SAVE Act or secure the perimeter, these mayors start acting like they're the leaders of a sovereign resistance. They hate you. They really do.
It's no joke, man. But look at the top of that hierarchy, Will. I'm looking at these reports from the Washington Examiner and the Daily Caller about bureaucratic fraud. We have Bill and Clinton being forced to testify under oath about the Epstein files.
Okay.
And you have to ask yourself, why now? Roughly speaking, the shadow that has loomed over our political elite for decades is finally being brought into the light. And the panic, well, you can see the panic in the way the media is trying to downplay it. It's the tragedy of the elite who believe they are exempt from the moral weight of their own actions.
Exactly. They thought they could fly on the Lolita Express forever and just lecture us about our carbon footprints. It's the ultimate hypocrisy. And they only agreed to testify to avoid criminal contempt? I mean, think about it. These people have spent their lives being told the rules don't apply to them.
Right.
And now the House Oversight Committee is finally pulling back the curtain. It's not just about one man or one island. It's about the entire network of elite protection that has allowed this rot to fester while they pretend to be the moral arbiters of the world.
It's the false king archetype, Will. The leader who wears the crown but serves only himself. When that king is unmasked, the entire kingdom has to reckon with the rot. And it's not just in D.C. We're seeing it in Minnesota with that welfare fraud case. Millions of dollars, your money, just vanished into a void of incompetence and corruption. It's enough to make a man weep for the state of the individual taxpayer.
It's a corruption tax, Walter. That's all it is. They take your money, give it to their friends, and then tell you that if you complain, you're the problem. What is going on here?
It's a lack of voter hygiene, which we'll get to. But first, before we get into the national security reality check, we have to deal with the reality of how we stay on the air. Real independence isn't free. This entire network, from this show to our flagship, the Neural Daily, exists because one man, Eric Christensen, decided to build it himself. He didn't ask for a government grant. He invested his own capital and technical expertise to architect a media platform that respects your intelligence. Now, if you value that kind of meritocratic building, back it up. And don't limit yourself to just the politics. Get the full strategic picture by subscribing to the Neural Daily and the rest of the network. Support the builder, and you support the mission. Well said, Walter. And look, we need that strategic picture more than ever. Look at what's happening with Project Vault. We're talking about a $12 billion initiative to stockpile rare earth minerals. The Washington Examiner is reporting that the administration is finally realizing we can't be a sovereign nation if China controls everything we need to build a toaster, let alone a missile.
Right.
And this Don Roe doctrine, renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, people are laughing at it in the mainstream media, but they don't get the frame. It's an assertion of dominance. It's saying, this is our sphere of influence, and we're cleaning the house. What do you make of the linguistic shift there, Walter?
It's a restoration of the boundary, Will. You see, a name isn't just a label. It's a claim of responsibility. By calling it the Gulf of America, you are stating that the stability of that region is an American responsibility. It's a move away from the postmodern idea that borders are just lines on a map. It's a reclamation of the Western Hemisphere as a place of order. Finally, but you have to be careful. You see, if you claim the responsibility, you have to have the character to back it up. You see what's happening in Turin, Italy?
Yes.
Violent protests, student walkouts here in the States. It's the chaos dragon rearing its head because the old hierarchies have been hollowed out. We're seeing a global civil disorder because the ruling class tried to replace meaning with consumption, and it didn't work.
Right. They tried to give us Netflix and equity instead of safety and purpose, and now they're shocked that people are angry. It's literally the most predictable thing in history. And speaking of a return to reality, Walter, you were looking at the drug policy shift in British Columbia.
Yes, this is a fascinating development. The government of British Columbia has officially ended their 3-year experiment with drug decriminalization. They realized, at great cost, I might add, that you cannot compassion your way out of a drug epidemic by removing the consequences of self-destructive behavior. It's a bloody tragedy that it took so many toxic deaths to realize that order is actually a form of mercy. Roughly speaking, when you tell a man who is lost in the fog of addiction that everything is fine, here's a safe injection site, you aren't helping him. You're enabling the destruction of his soul. You're telling him that his individual sovereignty doesn't matter as long as he's safe in his chaos. It's a lie, and it's a lie that has devastated communities.
Right. It's the same ruling class mentality. We're too sophisticated for things like laws or punishment, so let's just let the city rot and call it progress. I mean, really. It's the same thing as the Super Bowl counter-programming we saw yesterday. There are two Americas now. One that wants kid-friendly drag shows and open drug use, and another that just wants to, I don't know, watch Kid Rock and have a functional society?
It's a cultural fragmentation, Will. The shared logos is gone. We are living in two different psychological realities. And that brings us, it really does, to the main story of the day, the fight over the SAVE Act and election integrity. Because if we can't even agree on the hygiene of who gets to participate in the democratic process, then we really don't have a house at all.
This is the one that gets me, Walter. What is going on here? The House is pushing the SAVE Act, requiring proof of citizenship to vote, and the media, according to Breitbart and The Federalist, is treating it like Jim Crow 2.0. They're saying it will disenfranchise millions of women. I mean, really, are they saying women can't find their birth certificates? It's so insulting.
It's a cynical use of the victim archetype to shield a move towards total chaos. You see, if you want to have a sustainable society, the individual has to have a stake in the outcome. The vote is the manifestation of that stake. If you dilute the voting pool with people who are, roughly speaking, not part of the national family, you aren't expanding democracy. You're destroying the value of the citizen.
Right? It's like having a family dinner and letting everyone who walks past the house come in and decide what you're having for dessert and who pays the mortgage. It's insane. And the Democrats are fighting this tooth and nail? Why? If the elections are the most secure in history, why wouldn't you want to add a layer of proof that everyone voting is actually an American?
Because they don't believe in the American as a distinct moral category, Will. They believe in the global unit. To them, a border is a form of violence, and a citizenship requirement is a form of exclusion. But you see, exclusion is necessary for definition. If a circle has no boundary, it's not a circle. It's just everything. And everything is just another word for nothing.
Right, it's the void. They want the void because they think they can control the void. But look at the reports. The ruling class is terrified of this act because it means they can't use stealth amnesty or temporary residence to tip the scales in places like Arizona or Texas. They hate the idea that the American working class, the people in the flannel shirts, actually get to decide their own future.
It's a tragedy, man. It's the individual
being told that their voice doesn't matter because it can be drowned out by a wave of people who have no responsibility to the history or the future of the nation. It's no joke. When you destroy the integrity of the vote, you destroy the social contract. And when the contract is gone, only power remains.
And they have the power, or they think they do, but look at the polls. People are waking up to this. They're seeing the price transparency push at HHS, they're seeing the lion diet approach to government, cutting out the rot, and they want more of it. They want the SAVE Act. They want to know that their vote actually means something.
Well, that's the thing. Cleaning your room starts with the individual, but cleaning the nation starts with the ballot. If you can't trust the mechanism of change, you eventually turn to other mechanisms. And that's what I'm so bloody worried about. The postmodern neo-Marxists want to break the mechanism so they can justify a more direct form of power. It's a move toward tyranny masquerading as inclusion.
It's literally the frame in action. We're protecting you by making your vote irrelevant. And then they wonder why everyone is so angry. They wonder why the Super Bowl is splitting into two different broadcasts, because we don't even share the same definition of citizen anymore.
Roughly speaking, we have to reclaim the definition. We have to be brave enough to say that citizenship matters, that biology matters, that the Gulf of America belongs to the people who built it. It's a long road back to sanity, Will, but it starts with these simple, devastating questions you keep asking.
I'm just a guy in a barn, Walter, but even I can see when the house is on fire. We've got a long way to go, but as long as we keep calling out the ruling class and their hypocrisy, from the Epstein files to the border cams, we've got a chance to put the fire out. It's the tragedy of the individual, Will, but it's also the glory of the individual when they stand up and speak the truth. It's no joke. We have to hold the line.
And we will. That's our show for today. A fascinating look at a world trying to find its way back to common sense. Don't forget to check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Neural Network Media, and help us build this thing. And one more time, happy birthday to River. Happy birthday, River. Clean your room and the world will start to look a little less like a dragon. Godspeed.
See you tomorrow.
Complicated.